Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockman Supply. I had a gentleman named Derek. He had watched one of my videos on the blade and how if you bind it, it drifts, and how if you use a little ripper, you'll never bind the blade and make that blade drift. So, the question he was asking is he has a little ripper and he also bought a round ripper. Wants to know if he can use the same blade on both. Now, it's an excellent question, one I've never really gotten into before. Now, first thing I want to talk about is the blade that I'm using. This is my favorite blade. This is a 3/8 blade, 3 teeth per inch, and instead of the standard kind of 25 thou thick, this is actually 32 thousandths of an inch thick, a little bit wider. So that little bit extra curve, it's especially important when you're dealing with green wood. The green wood, it'll clear the chips a little bit better, gets them out of the cut, especially on the wet wood. So it's a really good blade, especially for wood or bowl churners and wood churners and people that deal with logs and stuff like that. Now, this blade, a couple things, does an excellent job of cutting straight. That's what I'm going to show you here. Let me make a little cut. Okay, so not only, so you can see that here, I did a great job of cutting straight there, beautiful veneer quality cut. Not only does this blade do a very good job of cutting straight, it also does a great job of cutting circles. So that's what I'll show you next here. So this is the round ripper. Now normally with a circle cutter, you run the risk, a very high risk, of damaging the blade. So you can imagine this piece of wood here on the bottom, I don't know if you guys can see, but it is very rough. It's cut off with a chainsaw. It's not flat at all. If I were to use a standard circle cutter, much like my simple circle cutter here, and put that bowl blank on the bottom, that's going to rock on there. When that wood rocks, you bind the blade like this and like this. When you bind the blade, that's where the blade drift comes from. So with this round ripper, it becomes a non-issue. Because you're holding from the top and the bottom, you can cut a piece that's not flat in the bottom and you're still not going to bind the blade. So what I'll do, just for fun here, I'll tilt the table just to match the taper on this piece of cedar here. So with the same blade, with that same 3/8, we call it a furniture band here, this is the blade I use for essentially everything. I can go ahead and cut this bowl blank as well. So we'll lock it up here and we'll cut. So there, I cut that bowl blank. So because I didn't bind the blade, because that piece of wood there wasn't rocking back and forth, I can use that same blade. Now the one final question is with the simple circle cutter. Now this one here, this is my other jig that I have, mostly for cutting plywood circles. Let me take the table off the bandsaw here first. Okay. This guy here, totally independent of that track, it'll just go in your miter track. This is the same thing. As long as the wood that sits on this piece right here is flat. As long as it's flat in the bottom, whether that's a piece of plywood, they're fine. Or if you have the bottom of your bowl blank jointed, you can do it on here and you don't have to worry about binding the blade. So we'll put this on here and we'll make a cut here just to show you guys. So this 3/8 blade, this is my favorite blade, 3 teeth per inch, 3/8 of an inch wide, and then 32 thousandths of an inch thick. We call it a furniture band. This is the blade I use for essentially everything. It'll do a great job of cutting straight, but it also does a great job of cutting circles as long as you don't put side pressure on that blade, as long as the material you're using is flat, or as long as you're using the round ripper on the irregular pieces. So yeah, Derek, I hope that answers your questions. If anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockhamsupply.com, or just comment on the video here. Now, if you want to see future videos, please subscribe and hit the little bell button to get notified when we post a new one, and follow us on Instagram at Stockham Supply. Thank you.